Now, from Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 News at 5.
Coming up tonight on the news, two major endorsements for Mike Flood, who's running for Jeff Fortenberry's congressional seat. Plus, a huge house fire in Davie today. We're going to take you to the scene and have the latest information. But first,
I changed my mind.
A Nebraska senator now pushing medical marijuana. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Friday night. I'm Rod Fowler. Megan Conway has the evening off. Could Nebraska lawmakers eventually approve medical marijuana? Well, a state senator who has been strongly against it in the past is now for it to a degree. Channel 8's Ariana Martinez has more from him and from some families who would benefit from this bill. Ariana?
This bill, introduced by Senator Mike Groene, has only been introduced, and there's a long road ahead of it. So today, I spent the time speaking with Nebraska families who would benefit if this were to pass. One was a son who took care of his parents in the last years of their life. He said they had a neurological issue, and medical marijuana could have helped with their pain. Another is a mother who has a 12-year-old son with a severe case of epilepsy. She says medical marijuana could be life-changing for their family.
Even a reduction of seizures would be such a tremendous thing for my child. It would truly change his quality of life.
Nicole Hodgson's 12-year-old son is getting ready for another brain surgery soon, and she explained medical marijuana would give them a different option before cutting into his brain.
I don't understand why my child, just because he lives in Nebraska, doesn't have that possibility, doesn't have that opportunity. Why he can't try an oil or a pill before we cut into his brain is something I'm very passionate about, working towards making sure Nebraskans have that opportunity.
In the past, Senator Mike Groene was against all forms of marijuana, but after hearing from those who would benefit from medical marijuana, he's thinking differently.
I changed my mind that if the pharmaceutical industry was not going to address it, we had to as elected officials.
Although supporters say it's a huge step forward, the way the bill is written still makes it difficult for families who would use it. One of the restrictions would be for patients to get approval from 3 separate doctors within a 90-day period.
Is 90 days even enough time to review 12 years of medical history? Like I said, he's had brain surgery where they took out 4 parts of his brain. He has a medical implant. 12 years of every medication, different combinations of medications. How am I also going to get appointments in 90 days with 3 separate doctors? I'm having hard enough time getting one appointment in 90 days.
Senator Groene feels there is still things that need to be worked out with this bill, but that something needs to be done to help Nebraskans.
The reality is people are going to Colorado, people are going to Iowa, people who are at their last straw looking for relief are doing it. So we need to help those folks, but also make sure that a drug that can be abused is still being able to be policed by our law enforcement and law community.
Senator Groene standing behind this bill may impact others who used to be against it. Governor Ricketts released a statement saying, "While I continue to have concerns about marijuana use for any reason, I am open to learning more about this bill."
The marijuana industry is pushing a dangerous agenda,
while others remain opposed to the idea.
Help us protect Nebraska's kids.
Although Senator Groene has changed his mind on medical marijuana, he made it very clear that he has not changed his mind on recreational marijuana. Now, so far, this bill is very specific on who could use it. For example, it would be for those suffering from stage 4 cancer or those suffering from epilepsy. And it also states that it would only be in the form of a pill or an oil. Reporting live in Lincoln, Ariana Martinez, Channel 8 News.
All right, Ariana, I know you told me they still have to form a committee to look at this, possibly tweak it before it would even go to the floor for debate. So still early on in the process, we'll keep people updated. Lawmakers also heard from the head of Nebraska's Supreme Court today. Mike Havikan gave the annual State of the Judiciary address today. He says during all of this pandemic, technology has been a huge help.
This year, I report to you that our courts have not only remained open, but have adapted to the realities of the pandemic. Our judges indicate that case backlogs are minimal, That assertion is supported by case management statistics. Few states have achieved such success.
Hevigan went on to say that we do need to extend high-speed broadband across the state. He also says courts are having a hiring shortage all across the state of Nebraska and have already implemented hiring and retention bonuses in all of court and probational offices. Douglas and Lancaster County have the most job openings in their courts, but smaller counties feel the burden of being short on workers as well. All right, big endorsements today for Mike Flood, who's running for Jeff Fortenberry's U.S. House seat. They come from former Governor Dave Heineman and Governor Pete Ricketts.
In modern political times in Nebraska, Jeff Fortenberry is the only Nebraska congressman that has ever been indicted on felony criminal charges. His actions have resulted in a dilemma for Nebraska's 1st District voters. We respect and appreciate his service, but we don't want to risk losing the seat to a Democrat. Therefore, I'm supporting and endorsing Mike Flood for Congress.
Mike Flood, as many of you know, is a former state senator and House Speaker. Jeff Fortenberry did release a statement today saying he was very disappointed and counted on these people to be friends who should stand beside you when you face adversity. Fortenberry is charged with lying to federal officials about illegal campaign contributions. We're going to have much more on all of this coming up tonight on our newscast at 6 o'clock. Other news now, a major house fire happened today in the village of Davie, that's northwest of Lincoln. Thick black smoke could be seen from miles away. It's video you'll only see here on 8. Flames engulfing this home in Davie. Fire crews had to call in backup from 5 other departments, including Lincoln Fire and the Air National Guard. When crews arrived, they say because the home was fully engulfed, they had to maintain a defensive stance against the blaze.
The full structure was on fire, so there was no survivable space inside that we deemed we could safely get to search. If there were parts of the house that were not impinged yet and we felt we could safely get in there, then we would have tried to get in and search that right away, but like I say, we did not feel that. The roof was coming down when we pulled on location, so it was unsafe to be underneath of that.
The chief tells Channel 8 there were reports the owner had a dog inside, but crews were unable to search the home. The dog remains unaccounted for. They say the home had hoarding conditions inside, which also helped fuel the fire. The wind was also a small factor.
Definitely helped, especially when the roof and all that started. When it got compromised, the wind was able to help feed oxygen to that fire.
The wind also blew embers across the street, which started a grass fire, but firefighters were able to put that out right away. There was also a boat in the front yard that caught on fire and was severely damaged. Neighbors told us they have never seen a fire like this before in their lives. The home is a total loss. No word on how much the home was worth, and the state fire marshal is investigating what caused the fire. And we just tried to get some updates here. We have not received any as far as was the dog found, is the owner okay, the cause, and the amount of damage. We'll keep you updated throughout the evening and on social media. Starting today, a local theater is showing 2 movies a day for vaccinated customers only. It's at the Marcus Grand Theater in downtown Lincoln, and Channel 8's Nathan Grieve has more on that.
It's been a long couple of years. We've changed so many things, from where we have hand sanitizers to how we ventilate our theaters to how we sanitize our seats. As this continued to bear down on us, we realized that there were a lot of guests that hadn't been back to us in a long time.
That's where the vaccine-required showings at the Lincoln Grand Cinema come in. If you're vaccinated against COVID and you only want to share your movie experience with other vaccinated people, well, now you can do that.
So a vax-required show is a single showtime of a single title in a single auditorium. And it's very clear on our website and our app what's vax required.
But hey, don't worry if you don't have or don't want the vaccine.
You don't need a vaccine card to go to the theater. You don't need a vaccine card to use the concession stand or to visit the lobby or to go to the bar. You need a vaccine card for that single showtime of that title in that auditorium.
And that's because this option isn't designed to keep people out, just to bring people in.
We don't want to block you from going, and we don't want to be Big Brother and say you got to have a vaccine card if you want to go to this theater. We want to give you the choice.
If that is your choice, don't forget your vaccine card and your ID. Reporting in Lincoln, Nathan Grieve, Channel 8 News.
Let's get to your first forecast now with Chief Meteorologist John Dissauer. Kind of heading in the right direction for many people out there. They like it a little warmer.
That's right, yeah. Temperatures were a little warmer this afternoon, reaching 30 degrees in Lincoln. However, as of this hour, we're still 66 consecutive hours below freezing in Lincoln, and because we fell just short of 32 degrees, but that will change by tomorrow. You can see right now temperatures are running 10 to 15 degrees warmer than what they were 24 hours ago, meaning it's 30 degrees right now in Lincoln, 30 in Beatrice, it's 30 in Frendon, York. 30 in Grand Island and 31 degrees in Hastings. Winds are still gusting a little bit out of the south-southwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour, giving us wind chill values in the teens to low 20s as of 5 o'clock. Radar is trying to suggest there's a little snow up there. I'm not convinced we're going to see any of this actually reaching the ground, as a lot of the snow that's being detected by radar is 5,000 feet and above. So it's all moisture that's caught up in the sky. We've got dry air at the surface. Not out of the question that we could see a flurry or two, especially north of Lincoln as we go through the next couple of hours. Otherwise, we're going to hang on to the clouds as we go through the overnight hours. Temperatures will drop down into the teens, but it'll take a little while to get there. 27 degrees by 8 o'clock, 27 degrees by 10 o'clock, but some warmer temperatures coming in for the weekend. We'll talk about just how warm that is coming up in my Storm Alert Team forecast.
All right, thank you, John. Let's get you updated now on national and international news. The top diplomats from the U.S. and Russia met today in Switzerland. It comes amid fears of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. ABC's Elizabeth Schultze has the very latest.
With tensions high at the Ukraine border, a critical meeting between the U.S. and Russia. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov pledging to continue diplomatic discussions.
And I think we at least have some opportunity to continue to work to resolve this diplomatically.
Russia has built up more than 100,000 troops at the border with Ukraine, raising concerns about a possible invasion, a move the Kremlin insists it won't make. ABC's Ian Pannell is on the front lines in Ukraine.
Vladimir Putin says he's not going to invade. He's not going to attack. You believe him?
You know, I don't know what is inside head of the Putin. So basically, I can't believe him.
At the Kremlin's request, the U.S. says it will provide written answers to Russia's security demands next week. One of those demands is that Ukraine be banned from joining NATO. That's a non-starter for the U.S. As the standoff continues, the White House is not ruling out another summit between Presidents Biden and Putin.
Of course, the president always values leader-to-leader engagement, but we'll determine if that's the appropriate next step.
Amid the diplomatic efforts, the U.S. is ramping up its military assistance to Ukraine, agreeing to send heavy weapons from Lithuania and other Baltic nations. Blinken says the U.S. and its allies stand ready to respond if Russia invades.
It's ultimately going to be President Putin who decides what Russia will do.
Secretary Blinken says he'll hold more talks with the Russian foreign minister, but a date hasn't been set yet. Until then, it's unlikely that Russia will withdraw any troops from the Ukrainian border. Elizabeth Schultze, ABC News, Washington.
And coming up on the news, he had a booming voice and was loved by millions. Meatloaf has died. We're going to take a look back at his career when we come back.
The DQ
Well, finally tonight, the San Diego Zoo welcomes a baby orangutan. Keja was born on January 4th. He's named after an Indonesian island where rehabilitated orangutans are housed before they're released into the wild. Both mother and baby are being closely monitored by the zoo's wildlife care team. So there you go, putting a smile on your face here before we say goodbye on our 5 o'clock on a Friday. The weekend is here. John, how's it look?
See, I like the hairdo of the baby.
Looks like me in the morning.
Hey, this evening temperatures dropping off slowly because we've got cloudy skies around. We'll be right around 27 degrees by 10 o'clock. Overnight lows as skies try to clear after midnight. We'll drop down into the upper teens, but temperatures tomorrow afternoon get back up into the low 40s.
All right, thank you, John, and thank you so much for joining us. World News is coming up next with David Muir. We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock.
With the Channel 8 Eyewitness News mobile app, you'll be the first to know. Get alerts about breaking news and weather, all in the palm of your hand.
At Comfort Made Mattress Factory, we build each mattress specifically for you right here in our locally owned store. We can even make his side different than hers, backed by our lifetime comfort guarantee.
Closed captioning on Channel 8 Eyewitness News is